Authentication and association. I'm sure all of you know what authentication is, right? But I am here to tell you that you don't. So authentication is one of the two steps required to connect to the .11 basic service set, right? BSS, we spoke about in the fundamentals course, is an access point. This is the BSS of a client, okay? Now, when we talk about authentication, this process is often misunderstood. I mean, I have seen many people tell me that authentication only means network authentication. Okay, that is not true. So what we are going to talk about here is layer 1 authentication. When a client comes in contact with an access point, the first thing the client does is layer 1 auth. Okay, a lot of people don't think so. A lot of people think the association happens first and then we have a layer 2 authentication. That is right. Layer 2 authentication happens after association, but that is network authentication. Okay, so think of it like this. You know, when a .3 device needs to communicate, like when a wired device needs to communicate with the other device, the first step is to plug in the Ethernet cable into the wall jack. Correct? That's what we do. When this cable is plugged in, the client creates a physical link, you know, to the wired switch, and it must first authenticate with the basically with the switch, and then it's able to pass traffic. Correct? So for a wired laptop, you plug in a wire onto the switch. That is called the layer 1 connection. Similar to that, when a .11 device needs to communicate, it must first authenticate with the AP. That is what it does. Now for a client, an AP, this authentication mechanism is the layer 1 connection between the AP and a client. Think of it like this, okay? It's equivalent to connecting a wire onto the laptop, you know, from the switch. It's equivalent to absolute that, you know, from wired and wireless. That's the comparison. Now, you know, so this is like, you know, the client telling the AP, I am a .11 capable device, and the AP, I'm sorry, that is the wired side. Let me just change that. Hang on. So the client just telling the AP, I am a .11 capable device. The AP saying, okay, wow, I am also .11 capable device, so you are authenticated. That is simply the layer 1 auth. That happens, basically a connection between these two devices that both are valid .11 devices. That's it. That's all it does. Okay. Now these are of two types. One is open system authentication, and the other is shared key authentication. Also known as SKA. Okay. Now please do not confuse this with layer 2 authentication. Layer 2 authentication, you have to enter the username and the password, right? Username and password. That happens after association. So it's layer 1 auth first, layer 1 auth, then association, and then the layer 2 network authentication happens. Whatever we know about authentication till now date is, you know, we talk about, if you have worked on the Wi-Fi network before, you know, pre-shared key authentication, MAC filtering, MAC authentication, all those things are layer 2 authentication types. Okay, layer 1 is simply the device being capable of .11 radio. That's it. It's just basically building a physical connection with the AP, just like you do it on the wired side. You plug in a cable from the laptop to a switch. That's the physical connection coming up. Similar to that, layer 1 .11 authentication is equivalent to that. Okay. Anyway, in the next two videos, we'll talk about open system auth and SKA, that is shared key authentication. So see you in the next video.